Our MJ movie reviews back again with another Black History Month movie review of what I believe to be among the general public to be underrated, critically acclaimed, but I believe among audience members underrated. Philadelphia, starring Tom Hanks and Mr. Denzel Washington, directed by Jonathan Demme, the director of Silence of the Lambs, and I believe Beloved. If anybody remembers that movie. No, I'm not going to do that movie. I'll talk about that another time. Philadelphia. I have always liked Philadelphia. I was a preteen when this film came out. This film came out, I believe, if I remember right, I think this came out the year I was in the 6th grade, but it was going into 19. I believe this came out at the tail end of 1993. I could be wrong. I haven't looked up the release date, but I remember it around that time. So I was old enough. Matter of fact, this film centers around basically Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington are both lawyers for opposing law firms. Denzel Washington is kind of more of a citywide famous television kind of lawyer who's really always looking for the latest case, handing out his business cards everywhere. Tom Hanks works for a very prestigious law firm, and basically Tom Hanks is a homosexual man who his partner is Antonio Banderas, Desperado himself, and Zorro, and he has AIDS. And his bosses get wind of it. They sabotage it to make it look like he's an incompetent worker. Fire him, and he goes to Mr. Denzel Washington to get representation to sue the company that wrongfully terminated him. Basically because he was a homosexual man with AIDS. That tells the story of Philadelphia. And this film came out, you guys got to remember, this is 1993. Now, this is like whatever. You know, everybody's gay. A lot of people have all kinds of illnesses. But this is 1993. This is like a couple years after Magic Johnson had come out and said that he had HIV. Not full-blown AIDS, but HIV. So there was this whole paranoia. And see, I believe I was about 10 years old when Magic Johnson had come on TV and was telling everybody he had HIV. And around this time, you know, you're coming off the Reagan Just Say No era about drugs and all that, and you're kind of shifting into the 90s with this whole... The whole thing with Magic Johnson coming out was to say that, oh, homosexual men just don't get HIV and AIDS. Straight men could get it too. So it was just a whole thing, and it was everywhere in the news, and they were talking about it all the time, and AIDS tests. It was everywhere. We were talking about it in schools. It was just... Around that time period, it was just really crazy from 1990, 1993, or I'll probably say all the way up until the OJ trial. Just that early to mid-90s section, it was just nuttiness going on everywhere. But I really remember that time period very strongly. And this film is kind of a representation of just the... and although I heard from my older family members that AIDS had long been out since probably around the time I was born in the early 80s. But really, when Magic Johnson came out with HIV, it just, the paranoia and all that stuff had got going again. And it was crazy then, y'all. It was crazy. But like I said, this movie represents that. And I really love this film. In my personal opinion, I think next to Malcolm X, I'm sorry, y'all, Glory, and a couple of other films from Denzel's really early work, I think this is one of Denzel Washington's strongest performances of his entire career, in my opinion, next to Malcolm X and Glory and a couple of other ones he made back then. Excuse me, y'all, I never actually saw Cry Freedom, so, you know, I really even like The Mighty Quinn. I actually should do that. I got it on VHS tape around here somewhere. But check out The Mighty Quinn, y'all. One of Denzel Washington's early movies. But he plays a cop in that. But this is one of my opinions of Denzel Washington's strongest performances. Tom Hanks got tons of critical acclaim. I mean, this is pretty much... Tom Hanks was in the beginning of he had shifted out of, because in the early 80s, Tom Hanks was doing Bachelor Party and Joe versus the Volcano and The Money Pit and Dragnet. If anybody remembers Dragnet, I remember that movie. He was kind of getting out of that phase. So Tom Hanks was getting into his dramatic phase of his career. This was a year before Forrest Gump, which we know after he did Forrest Gump, he just took off into super dramatic actor. But previous to Philadelphia, he was kind of in limbo of, kind of comedic actor, kind of drama actor. The movie Big kind of combined both. But Tom Hanks was shifting out of that phase, and this movie catapulted him. I believe he won an Academy Award for this movie. Denzel Washington, I don't think got nothing. I don't even know if he got a Best Supporting Actor nod for this. I can't remember. But if he did, he didn't win it, and he should have. Because what I love about this movie is, it really highlights the paranoia of just the AIDS epidemic, but also just kind of how people feel about homosexuals, about homosexual men. They don't really lean so much towards gay women, lesbians, but they really kind of go, particularly on the male's point of view, on how straight men feel about gay men, what they perceive gay men to be. You know what I mean? And it's indicated perfectly in a scene where Denzel Washington is talking with his wife. He's just had a baby. And, he's telling her, like, I don't believe these guys. Is it yours? Is it mine? Ooh. And they pump up together and trying to be macho and faggot at the same time. You know what I mean? And Denzel plays this character so perfectly. He's a very smooth, articulate, educated man. He's kind of very like a self-promoter a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily call him bigoted. I'd more call him ignorant. You know what I mean? Not ignorant like, oh, I hate you, and, punch the gay guy in the face, but just ignorant like he doesn't know. This is just his perception of what a gay man is. And it's also illustrated in the scene where Tom Hanks comes into the office, asking for representation. He goes, what happened to your face? And he goes, I have AIDS. And Denzel kind of goes like, oh, all right, yeah. It's played so perfectly. And I love Denzel in this part of his career because I believe Denzel might have been in his early 40s at this time. He might have been in his early 40s or maybe late 30s, 38, 39, or 40 at the time when he did this movie. But this is when Denzel was just being so layered with his performances and just that. This is smooth, badass, old school Denzel, man. This is a scene where he's walking down the hallway talking on the phone, and you could just see that youthful energy in Denzel. A lot of what he had in Ricochet. I never saw Pelican Brief. I know that was a big hit. Sue me. I maybe one day might review it. I've only seen pieces of it, but I know everybody had loved that film when it came out. I never saw it. But, there's a lot of that. I mean, Denzel was just smooth in this movie. And I really love how he turns down Tom Hanks. Because he really, the real issue is he don't want nothing to do with this homosexual dude who got AIDS. That's really the heart of why he's not representing him. He plays it off in their meeting like, well, this is why really. I mean, these cats are too big, man. I mean, you just... this is impossible. I don't see the case. But the heart of the matter is he doesn't like homosexuals, let alone a homosexual man who's infected with AIDS. And there's a part where he's in the library and Malik from Conan the Destroyer tries to kick Tom Hanks. Kind of doesn't try to kick him out the library. He tries to get him to go to like a secluded research room. Denzel Washington watches this. And Denzel Washington, this dude is a gung-ho lawyer. He's all about the law, and he realized, man, this ain't cool, man. It's just, and he has a change of heart. He has a change of heart to realize that this guy is being treated unfairly. It's my job to represent people that are being treated unfairly or whatever. If it goes against the law, it's my job to make things right. And he steps up to the plate, and while he's working with Tom Hanks, he sees the humanity in him. So he doesn't see him as just, this gay, infected man. He sees the humanity in him. And he sees that, hey, this is just a person who's dying. This is a person who's dying. and it isn't really a point in the film where they so much become like friends, but I really think there is a point in the movie where there's a mutual respect, I'd say. It's very, very well done the way because the movie it doesn't get overly preachy and all that. It kind of sprinkles in that a little bit, but it doesn't go too far with the melodrama. It doesn't have some scene at the end where Denzel's going oh and crying, and Tom Hanks is oh crying, and they die. No. They win the case. Tom Hanks dies. Denzel Washington knows he's dying. He fights for this man, and Denzel Washington does what he said he was going to do, which was be a good lawyer to him, and he helps him win the case. Denzel did his job. So really, that's Denzel Washington's character's arc. That's his arc, is that he did the right thing for somebody that he originally did not like without even knowing him. And that is why Tom Hanks' bosses fired him. They fired him because they perceived him to be some sort of threat by bringing this AIDS, nasty, homosexual stuff into their life. And Denzel knows that a part of what got him fired is a part of what's in him. And he knows that's wrong. But he pays his penance. He does his job. He wins the case. That's the mutual respect. This is a beautiful movie. I love this film. I really, 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 really love this film. Everybody across the board is shooting on all cylinders. Tom Hanks, I mean, goodness, he started getting great dramatic work after this film for a reason. Denzel was already hitting on all cylinders. This was another notch in the belt after the very underrated Ricochet. Antonio Banderas, small role, but you could see kind of his little charisma he has there. Small part, but very charismatic. All the bit players that played who were in Silence of the Lambs and a bunch of other... you've seen these character actors. I can't remember the one actress who was in Parenthood. Ted Danson's wife. I can't remember her name. I should know. I've seen her in a million movies. But she's great. Of course, Jason Woodard. I mean, he's always fantastic. I mean, this is just great movie making. And it's aspiring, too. It's aspiring to just show... And even in the beginning of the movie, when they're playing that Bruce Springsteen song, and it's showing all the different locations in Philadelphia, you're seeing all these different people. And I could even say the AIDS and the homosexual part of the storyline could even be a metaphor for just how people misunderstand each other in life. You know what I'm saying? How people don't even get to know each other. Hey, well, you're a black dude, so I know you're not educated. I know you don't know anything. Well, you're a white dude, so I know you hate me. Or you're a Chinese dude. I know you're going to do karate. You're Middle Eastern, so you're going to blow up the plane. I mean, you're a woman with a big chest, so I know you must be a freak. I mean, it's just these prejudgments, and you're not even looking at a person's character. This is a heavy movie, man. This movie's deep, man. And that montage at the beginning just shows all the different assortments of different people. And you just see people being people. And really, when it comes down to it, it's man who makes these assumptions in their own mind. Man creates this stuff. You're not judging a person on the content of their character. You're just judging them before you even get a chance to know them. I love this film. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. And those of you who've seen Philadelphia or want to see it, or see it right after you maybe watch my review, leave comments down below about everything I've talked about with this film. This is a fantastic, underrated classic. I love Philadelphia. In my opinion, one of Denzel Washington's best performances. Do not forget to ring that bell so you can be updated when I come up with new videos. All right, that's it. I'm gonna come back with a movie review of for Black History Month. I'm gonna do Halloween Resurrection starring Busta Rhymes, and why I chose that, I don't know why, because Busta Rhymes in it. Okay. I'm gonna do Love Jones. I'm gonna do The Bodyguard starring Whitney Houston. School Days, and Eddie Murphy Raw. RMJ Movie Reviews. I'll see you guys soon.